Hello, this is Fishing Kid 14 with a fly tying video for you guys. Today we're going to be making a fly popper. What you'll need is brown or black thread on a spindle, some light brown foam, just real thin, some green foam, again real thin, some super glue, head cement for the thread and the feathers, and the feathers, black and white or pheasant feathers. It doesn't really matter. So what I've done already is I've taken the thread and covered the hook in it. So now we're going to measure out our foam. So just cut the length of your foam. Don't want to make it real big. Just around the edges, frogs don't have right angles, so just the obvious. So we have our brown piece, which is going to go on the bottom, and we're going to do the same with the green. Bear with me here, I'm kind of slow. Just go ahead and trace that with the scissors, just in a trace cut. Okay, so we have our brown and green. We're going to save those for a little bit later. Right now, we're going to do our feathers. So, just a long, skinny black feather, maybe one or two. A white feather, one or two. I prefer one of each, and then a pheasant feather. Just to kind of be in between. So what we're gonna do is, if the feather's kind of like U, then you're gonna want to point the U, the other end of the U towards the outside. So don't let the end of the feather go any much further than the eye of the hook, because then it's gonna give you trouble getting it on. So then we're gonna do our pheasant feather right in the middle. Loop that real nicely. And last but not least, our black feather. And if you need to, cut one down the sides if one's bigger than the other. Not a big deal. Just cut it with scissors. And just tie that on. Doesn't really matter how it looks on the inside, but all these loose ends, I prefer to cut, just so it looks neater when it's finished, So just take that and do a couple of knots, not real hard, but just hitch knots or half hitch knots, whichever. Just do a couple of them, 2 or 3, and you'll be good. And once you're done with that, just cut your thread, not real short to the hook, but just enough so you can not have it come undone. So I've got my head cement now, and I like to use Q-tips to do this part. Just go ahead and open the head cement up. Dip the Q-tip in a little bit. Just, you don't want too much on there or it's going to be messy. And you just spread that all around where the thread is. You don't have to drown it, just put a little bit on. Enough that it'll stay secured. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a second. Okay, so once that's dry, remember the foam we cut earlier? 2 little pieces. And the super glue you have? We're going to use that now as the final step. So we're going to take the bottom one. You're just going to take a little bit of glue, just a little bit. You don't need the whole lot, just like a tiny little drop or two. You're just going to put that on the bottom piece. And you got to do this fast or it's going to dry to your skin. Just going to take the brown piece, put it on the bottom, and the green piece and put it on top. And make sure those line up or it's going to look weird. And that super glue is going to bind them together to make the actual frog body. If you have to, squeeze it a little to make it even. I just glued my fingers together. And if there's a little bit going down with the hook on the bottom, just take like a knife or something and just cut a little slit in the bottom so it goes right along with the hook. And if you need to, if the back doesn't stay down all the way, you're just going to lift the back end up of the green and just put like a drop of that super glue in there and hold it for a minute. Just so it completely dries and is together. Okay, so you're going to let that dry 15 seconds. About 15 seconds, somewhere in that area. Okay, so this is the finished product. Something I forgot to include in what you're going to need is maybe a black permanent marker. So what you're going to do with that is just take and put a couple of points on the top. Just around. And so, there you have Frog Popper. There will probably be more videos, so subscribe. Take care.